Hey guys, Adam from ClearBlast. We're going to go over how to change the diaphragm. This will apply to newer versions of the CB150, the HV version of the 150, and will also apply to the 450, although the configuration will be a little bit different. The diaphragm is set up identically. So first thing, we will need an Allen head. You can do this with a hand wrench version of it. We do like the ball end, ideally, just helps us with the angles. And we have it on a nice impact wrench here to get that happening, but 6mm is the size. And then we'll need a replacement diaphragm. So first thing we want to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to loosen up and remove the 4 bolts holding on our diaphragm. So we have the piping here. Between that will be a diaphragm. On the other side we have the actuator. So first thing is we're going to remove those 4 bolts. All right, then we can go ahead and make our way over to the other side. Now we're going to get in here and remove the actuator along with the diaphragm. And we're going to remove the line that's heading over to the gauge and the line that's coming from our control panel that opens up the diaphragm. I'll give you a better look on those when we get out here. So we have the line that's going around to our gauge, and then this is coming from our control panel to the open port. So you have an opening port, and then we have the closing port. Standard setup, when our machine has air going to it, there's air going to the closing port. It's assisting the spring close of this valve. When you pull your trigger, that air gets shut off, and then you have air going to open and compress this spring. We're going to utilize this when we're putting it back together to compress the spring, allowing us to easily get this back on. But first, we're going to go ahead and take off our old diaphragm. If your diaphragm did happen to burn all the way through, you want to make sure you get any kind of media or water, grit, anything that's inside of here out. Clean it. You can even throw a little WD in there to make sure it's lubricated. But if it's not, if it's nice and clean, you don't have to worry about that quite as much. So we're then going to go ahead and take our new diaphragm. And it's just a nice little screw head on there. And screw that back on to the actuator. Now, this does not need to be wrenched on. You can see I'm coming up a little bit short of being in alignment. I'm going to go ahead and just bring it back. And this tab is going to line up with your ports or opposite side of that. But I'm not going to wrench it back. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to come back to where it's nice and easy to line that up straight. And then we're going to get this back in, and I'll show you. We're going to take the line that was, we're going to take this line here coming off of our Y. This is air coming directly from the main air feed. We're going to take that out of the T, and we're going to put that in to the opening side. Okay, so main air coming off. We have the Y. It's coming off of our main supply from our filters. We're going to take that out. Push fittings are push the collar in, hold the collar, pull the tubing out. So I'm going to push the collar in, pull the tube out. And then when you push it in, just lock it in. And that holds it. Do not force them out and gut your fitting. All right, so we swap that line. Now when I put air to the machine, it will compress this spring, which why don't I just go ahead and show you that. So you can use your compressor. I'm using shop air. So you see how that pulled that spring in. When I do not have air to it, the springs will force it open, or shut rather. So we are forcing that shut. You need at least 70 PSI to do that if you are using shop air. All right, so with that done, we're gonna put this back in. Get it to about its positioning, and then I'm gonna head on over to the other side again and tighten up my bolts. So I have it in there. Come around to the other side. Holding the actuator. Just take your time setting that first screw in. Again, this extended arm helps a tremendous amount with this job. Makes it very quick and easy. I highly recommend it. You can even contact us if you want one, we can get one to you. This is absolutely the way to go. But if you need to in the field, you can absolutely do this with just a standard Allen head 6mm wrench. All right, so I got all 4 of these started. From here, I'm gonna go ahead and do like a 4-lug tire in a cross pattern. All right. There's 2. You got 3, 4, and start. Finish where I started. All right. Now, at this point, again, we still have air going to it, closing that spring. I'm gonna just loosen up each one about a 1/4 turn. A little bit more than a 1/4 turn, that's okay. And then I'm gonna actually turn the air off and on, allowing that diaphragm to kind of settle into place. So I'm just gonna go ahead and release this air, letting that shut with the spring, and then opening it back up. I'm just gonna do this 2 or 3 times. Again, to settle that diaphragm into place so it's not overextending or stretching that rubber. All right, and then now that's cycled a few times, leaving the air off. I'm gonna go back and tighten everything up again. All right, so we're tight. Now what to do is do my lines once more, so let's come back around this way. And show you in place what we did here. So first, we have the line that was coming out of this T over to our gauge up front, if you can see that. Yep. So I'm gonna plug that back in. All right, and then I'm gonna take the line that I robbed earlier out of the other side and bring it back over to this T. And then I had the line that comes in to open our diaphragm valve and put that back where it was at the start. So now all of our lines are back in place. We have a new diaphragm and we are good to go, get back to blasting. So again, this is Adam Souls from ClearBlast. Keep on blasting, guys.